Being a writer, or one of the writers for the Office 365 project, I've had the advantage of going and looking and interviewing a number of companies and writing about them and seeing what they're doing with Office 365. So you can read a lot of this on the NetCommunity's website, or you can go to the Microsoft Press Center and see some of these directly. There's a company called Iluka. They supply hospitality services for the Olympics, and they've taken on Office 365. Now, here are some of their benefits. Iluka's a small SME. There's about 100 people there, and when they have big events that they've got to deal with, such as the Olympics, they have a number of extra employees, temporary employees. So it takes their employee count up to about 1,000 people. So that's 100 to 1,000. Now, they all need to be using email. They all need to be using some kind of Excel and some kind of documentation. If they were to invest in the Microsoft Office 2010 suite for the extra 900 people, that would cost them a lot of money. The innovative solution to them was to take Office 365 and maybe just have one of the plans for 2 or 3 months. So that way they were able to supply their temporary employees with email access and a whole bunch of other components for less than 20 or 30 pounds. A fantastic deal. I'm guessing on the 20, 30 pounds. Of course, I don't know how long each employee is going to be using Office 365 for, but you can see that the massive difference. Now, the other issue they would have had if they had stayed with a traditional environment is they would have had to provision for extra users. So they would have had to scale up their back-end, their servers and so on a little bit, and they would have had to have a technical person sort all of this out. Now, we can't remove the technical person because we still have to create those users in Office 365 for them, but they don't have to buy extra servers. And this is another great benefit that many of the other corporations are finding. So, for example, the Danish Red Cross are another organization that's using Office 365. As the Red Cross grows and expands, they would have to have more servers. They'd have to be thinking about, oh, I've got X amount of offices. Or, for example, the Catholic schools, they've got schools all around the world. They'd be having to think, okay, we need a server here, a server here, a server here, build little data centers in their various places. By having Office 365, they don't have to think about that. There's no hardware planning and provisioning involved. They simply have to get a license for the people who are using them. Now, an additional benefit that schools are finding is that actually for the basic component, it's free for the students, which gives them a whole bunch of web apps and so on. If the students wanted to use on-premise Office 2010, of course they'll have to subscribe to a little plan. But actually, you know, if they don't need it, and some students learning about I don't know, drama, for example, may not need the full Office version. So the free version is actually quite good for them. Another great benefit is the different plans that you have. Now, Microsoft have unfortunately never been great with licensing. It's always a mess and we always get confused with it. And, you know, as a person who's worked with Microsoft ever since the early 80s, you know, the licensing thing has never been straight. In a similar way, the plans can be a bit confusing. But here's the great thing about the plans. I can have a plan for someone who's using the full version, Office 2010, they need Lync, and for other people in satellite offices or for people who are just using mobile devices, I can have a smaller plan for them. So again, I don't have to have everyone on the same plan. I can pick and choose depending on the circumstance of my employee or the temporary employee that I've got.